so get ready because this deep dive, well, it's going to be about family drama.
Oh.
But with like an Olympic twist.
Intriguing.
Right.
Yes.
So we're talking about Carlos Yulo.
Okay.
This Filipino gymnast who has been just like crushing it.
Yeah.
Winning world championships.
Absolutely.
And making the Philippines super proud.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, things haven't exactly been peaceful.
No, not exactly a perfect landing.
Right. And we've got a ton of reports and discussions online, even some whispers from people close to the family.
Okay.
It's complicated.
Sounds like it.
So we're going to unpack this whole story.
Okay.
Family ambition, pressure,
Yeah.
the whole
I'm
thing.
looking forward to it.
Okay, so this is what really caught my eye.
What's that?
This offer from Chavit Singson.
Okay.
You know him.
Yeah. Filipino businessman.
Right, and politician. He offered Carlos 5 million pesos to reconcile with his family.
Seriously.
Yeah.
5 million pesos.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Just like make up with your family,
I mean, that really says something about how Filipinos view family.
doesn't it?
Yeah, like it's a huge deal.
Huge.
Yeah.
There's that saying,
Oh, yeah.
ang pamilya ay kayamanan.
Right. Family is wealth.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they really mean it.
So Singson's offer, whether Carlos took it or not,
Right.
shows how far people will go
Uh-huh.
to keep those family bonds strong.
Yeah, to protect that.
So let's get into like the root of this rift.
Okay.
What even happened?
Right.
What caused this whole drama?
Well, we don't know all the details.
Okay.
Nobody's really sharing everything publicly.
Right.
But it seems like a big part of it
Yeah.
is Carlos's training.
Uh-huh.
He's been in Japan, honing his skills, which means he's away from his family a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
To be that good.
right.
He has to train intensely,
Yeah.
and being on the other side of the world, that's got to be tough on relationships.
It is tough to stay close.
Yeah, and it's not even just the physical distance.
No, it's more than that.
Right. Like the pressure of
If-
competing internationally, carrying the hopes of your whole nation.
It's a lot for anyone,
That's intense.
especially a young athlete.
And then you add in the girlfriend.
Oh, right. Chloe San Jose.
Yeah. And his mom, Angelica Yulo,
hmm
she's expressed some concerns.
Okay, so this adds another layer to it all.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not unusual for families.
Especially when they're so invested
Totally.
in an athlete's success to worry about relationships
Right?
that they see as distractions.
Exactly. They want to protect that career.
So Angelica might be coming from that place
It's possible.
of wanting to protect Carlos, especially since she supported him
Yeah, she's always been there.
from the
Your
beginning.
driving force.
We don't have all the information,
True.
but it's important to try and understand her side.
I agree. We need to see all the perspectives.
And speaking of perspectives,
Yeah.
the public's reaction to this whole thing
Oh, yeah.
has been pretty divided.
Okay.
Some people think Carlos needs his space
Right.
to manage his personal life.
He's a young adult,
He is.
and he's already so successful.
They see the relationship with Chloe as just part of growing up,
Yeah, normal.
something to support, not scrutinize,
That's a pretty common viewpoint.
especially here in the West. But then there are a lot of people
Yeah.
who get where Angelica's coming from.
They understand her protective instincts
They see her concerns as coming from a place of love
and care for his well-being.
and for his career.
Exactly.
And I think this difference in opinion
Yeah.
has a lot to do with culture.
For sure.
We've talked about how important family is in Filipino culture,
Uh-huh.
and that's probably influencing how people are viewing this whole situation.
It's a clash of values.
Is it?
Yeah. On one hand, you have individual happiness, freedom to choose your own path.
Choose who you want to be with.
Exactly.
But on the other,
To have family bonds,
that sense of duty,
obligation,
which are so strong in Filipino tradition.
deeply rooted.
And all of this
All of
is
this-
happening in public.
So much scrutiny.
Carlos is a national figure.
He is.
His personal life is public.
Yeah, that's the thing with athletes.
They're representing their country. So everything they do
Uh-huh.
gets filtered through this lens.
It's like they're carrying the nation's hopes and dreams.
And that can be a lot of pressure.
It can.
It can affect them,
Yeah.
their mental health relationships.
The well-being.
Yeah, Carlos Yulo's case really shows that it shows the struggles athletes face.
The sacrifices they make.
Having to balance their personal lives and their public image.
Right.
It's like a reminder that even though these athletes seem superhuman,
Yeah.
they're still human.
With real emotions.
They have challenges that shape them.
It's more than medals and championships.
This deep dive into Carlos Yulo's story, it's already given us so much to think about.
It has.
Family dynamics, cultural values, the pressures of success,
Yeah.
the challenges of relationships in the public eye.
It's all connected.
What stood out to you the most?
Let me think about that for a sec.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think for me,
Yeah.
it's just how there are no easy answers here.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not black and white,
It's so nuanced,
just different perspectives,
shaped by all these factors.
love, ambition, cultural expectations.
Whole mix.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so fascinating.
I agree.
It resonates with people,
Because we've all felt that tension
haven't we?
between what we want.
And what's expected of us.
Yeah.
It makes you think about some bigger questions.
Like what?
Well, like how do we as a society
Yeah.
support our athletes, but also respect their boundaries,
Right.
give them autonomy? And how do we deal with family relationships?
When those individual desires.
Clash with traditional expectations. And then you think about Carlos
Right. In the middle of it all.
trying to achieve his dreams
Mm-hmm.
while dealing with all this pressure.
Public scrutiny, too,
It's a lot.
to handle.
It really is.
Maybe to help understand Angelica's perspective,
Okay.
we should try to imagine what it's like to be the parent
Okay.
of a world-class athlete.
Like you've dedicated years
Years of your life,
to their dream.
making sacrifices.
And
Just as they're reaching the top,
Mhm.
this new relationship comes in.
yeah, you start to worry.
Right. Will it be a distraction?
Will it derail everything?
All that hard work?
And remember, we're talking about representing your country.
On a global stage.
The stakes are so high.
They are.
So maybe she's trying to protect him
Trying to shield him.
from the potential fallout
Yeah.
of a high-profile relationship
Especially one.
that's getting negative attention.
Exactly.
It's like she's protecting the whole family from being dragged through the mud.
By the media.
It's tough.
It is.
And we also have to remember the cultural context.
Right.
Family is everything in Filipino culture.
It's fundamental.
There's such a strong sense of loyalty.
Duty, responsibility.
Angelica's concerns probably come from that.
That makes sense.
That deep sense of family duty.
It's easy to judge from the outside,
So easy.
but we have to consider those cultural forces.
And the public's reaction, it reflects a bigger societal conversation.
It does.
It goes beyond Carlos Yulo.
Ah,
It's about how we view family and individual autonomy.
yeah. There's this global shift.
Like people want self-expression,
Personal happiness.
even if it means challenging traditions.
And that leads to friction.
When those desires clash with cultural values,
There's family duty obligation.
it's like we're trying to figure out,
How to balance those things.
and there's no easy answer.
It's complex.
It's evolved.
Yeah. And Carlos Yulo's story
Just one example
of how these tensions are playing out.
publicly.
But his story also highlights the pressures on athletes
Right.
representing their nation.
It's not just about winning.
It's about carrying the hopes and dreams of a whole country.
And that brings us back to that question.
What question?
How does that pressure affect their personal lives?
That's a good one.
Think about it.
Okay.
The pressure to perform,
To live up to expectations,
the fear of failure,
not just for yourself,
but for your entire country.
and on top of that,
You're trying to live your life.
deal with relationships,
Family dynamics.
the normal ups and downs.
It's a lot.
Yeah, we celebrate the victories,
We do.
but we forget the human cost,
Sacrifices,
the unseen battles.
behind the scenes.
Carlos Yulo's story reminds us
Yeah.
that behind every medal,
Every perfect landing
there's a human being
with their own story.
their own hopes, dreams, complexities.
And
Those
flavor.
complexities
They deserve our understanding,
and empathy.
even when we don't agree with their choices.
I think that's a good point to remember. Yeah, it's so easy to just focus on the wins and losses.
The medals.
Right, those highlight reels.
And forget that these athletes are real people
They have lives.
going through real stuff,
Exactly.
just like all of us.
And for Carlos,
Yeah.
those struggles are happening so publicly.
It's a tough situation.
Not easy answers.
So,
Yeah.
as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
what's your biggest takeaway from all this?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's that reminder
Yeah.
that there's always more to the story.
Than what we see.
Right, like on the surface,
We might see Carlos as this amazing athlete,
a symbol of national pride.
but behind that,
He's a young man,
just trying to figure things out.
trying to balance it all.
His dreams, his family, his country.